All right, cool. So I'm here with Matt Benfield. This is Chicken Jam live, even though it's not live, but we're just acting like it's live right now, so it's off the cuff.
Yep.
And so we're going to talk about some chicken picking things.
Yeah.
And yeah.
This is Ben Hart here. He's the guy behind the scenes doing all the camera work, and he's also quite the chicken picker himself. So we were going to say, how do you go about chord changes? Like, how would you solo over a chord changes like a 1, 4, 5, and A?
Yeah. Okay. So I'll do this, then you talk about it. So what I'm thinking about is, I really am thinking about picturing the chord and then playing notes around it that's appropriate for the style. So first off, the classic one is. But you can't hear it, so I gotta turn it up. So like this right here, and there's certain notes around that. I'm thinking, what notes around that sound like that? So like, now my hand didn't hold that chord down the whole time, but I was picturing 3 notes of that, or 4 notes sometimes. I know a lot. That's not real popular to say. Some people are always talking about triads. But
of like the full chord.
Yeah, like here's an F chord that we made, an F position, kind of E position,
and now it's an A,
and it's an A. So I'm picturing that when I do that the whole time, even though I'm not just holding that down trying to go. And then I'm adding certain notes that give me, and then as I move, now I'm kind of picturing this bar chord.
Yeah.
But then also I picture like that 7, so that third's there. So I got So that's like one position. Then I have other, like there's an open one. I was
gonna say that's the open one.
Yeah,
so you would think they try it differently here.
So I'm picturing that. And open does kind of play with my mind a little bit, like differently, but like I'm still picturing that, kind of that, if I'm there and I kind of work down. And then I picture like the A with the third down there.
Yeah.
And then just straight up. And I'm thinking about what notes go around that, and then it goes all the way up to like a D7 up here.
Right, the D7 note.
And like even and then a regular OA.
Right.
And then I mix them. So now I'm back in this one.
So when you're soloing over that chord, you're basically just thinking of all the different shapes of A, essentially.
Yeah, and then what color notes do I want around it? But I'm picturing my fingers, or it's like those frets like highlighted in your brain.
Yeah, I mean that's how I would pretty much approach it too. I mean I pretty much approach it more of like with like 2 notes as opposed to 3. So like like when I do like an A, I'm thinking the G and the B right here on the second.
The G and the B string, but the A and the C sharp of the chord.
Essentially, right, and then.
But we're not really thinking about those notes. We're just thinking about that shape, and this is where it goes. I'm not going A and C sharp.
Right, and I'm not thinking about the scale so much, really. I'm really just seeing chord shapes in my head.
So you play something right here.
Yeah.
And then tell me what you're thinking about when you play it. Like, I started on that position. So.
You were doing like, and you're seeing that whole shape.
Yeah.
I'm more like seeing these 2 on the D and G, and I'm seeing these 2, and then I'm seeing the E and the G.
The string skipper.
Yeah, because then I can go, and I can also go.
And that's thinking this way, which that does happen.
Yeah. And
I do think a little bit more like double stops then, because like I'm just thinking about working, because those are like technically passing chords. Like we don't think about this, but technically that's 1, 2 minor, 2 minor diminished to 1 over 3.
Yeah.
And then it gets us to a 4. But like you can't think that fast and do that. You just have a position and a move.
Exactly, yeah. And if you're gonna go to the D, then I'm thinking of the original A shape, but you're here, so you're on, and then you're in D, and then same with A or E.
Yeah. Okay, so
I mean, we basically approach it the
either
same
way, we're picturing something. We're not thinking about every note we're playing.
No, yeah, and that's.
I mean, we think about our starting point.
Right. That's the thing I would tell people trying to get into like country guitar is like, don't think pentatonic scales or anything like that. Think chord shapes, because that's what you're outlining. You're outlining those chord shapes, and that's essentially, I would say.
And then if anything gets out of scale, you're not lost.
Right.
Like, and I will say, like rock, sometimes I'll think a little bit more like pentatonic scale.
I would think pentatonic with rock.
Yeah, but that's like there's less thirds in that.
Yeah.
And so it's like you're not hearing the chord, and it's more like fast jamming. But with this, you're hearing the chord change while we're jamming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's adding that third and color notes around there.
Right.
So essentially, it's easier to picture the chord. So chord tones are just happening at almost every other note sometimes.
Right.
Probably, if we thought about it, it's almost happening. So it's like you're hearing chord tone, non-note, chord non-note.
Right.
That's a technical term.
Yeah. I
yeah.
would say also like the thing that like makes chicken picking like music like that type of guitar playing is not playing that you're playing that dominant 7 type of thing. That's that sound, I mean, you could play it straight major too. I mean, that's certainly a style, but I would say what gives it that sound is that mixolydian thing.
The flat 7 thing.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of coming up on like that jam band type of a. You can blend the two because that's mixolydian is jam band type thing all day long, which is where we come into the chicken jam.
So you bring up mixolydian. So let's go and talk about the people talk about scales.
Right.
So it's like, should you learn them? Should you not? I can tell you my journey, then you tell me your journey.
Yeah, show me.
So like when I first started playing, I've got to use a different one. I got to use old blue.
Oh, the blue one.
The blue one. Usually it's a star. You used to do stars with me, but I
still have.
I don't know what happened.
Okay.
So I would say at first everything was just a lick. Like I went,
Right.
and then I would have another G one. Then I try to figure out time together, and then someone told me like, well, that's in a certain scale, and if you do that, you can learn every. And so then I went really hog wild on scales, like.
Yeah.
And I actually added a third there, but
Right.
But that's kind of like what I think about if I'm rocking.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, it was like I would hear these players play, and it just like I could hear the chord change.
Yeah.
Even without a rhythm.
Without
playing.
a rhythm, yeah.
Without a rhythm playing, I was like, and it started bluegrass for me, and I was
Bluegrass,
like,
you could definitely
why?
hear the
And
chord
they're like,
change.
well, you don't have any thirds in your playing. You're playing rock, and I was
Right.
like. No, I'm not. I'm playing a Martin, so
Yeah.
I mean,
Uh-huh.
and so then I really started thinking about the chord, and then what notes I want to add to it, and so then, so I do know the scales, and sometimes I think like that, but most of the time, I find that I'm playing the mixolydian scale, but I'm not thinking about that.
No,
I'm
of
thinking
course
about I'm thinking about adding the flat 7 around to the chord, and the major scale.
Right.
Like, and those are the notes that happen to work around that chord. But I'm really picturing this.
Right.
But it is the mixolydian, which is a major scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, besides the last one.
But you're seeing a 7 chord.
7.
Yeah.
That right there gives you that. Or, and then I swing the third. From minor third to major third. That is.
Yeah.
So that flat 7 and swinging the third really is the chicken picking.
Yeah, I would
thing.
say
So,
that's
like,
the thing. Yeah.
Talk to me about scales. Like
That-
you use them some.
Yeah,
but not
I would
maybe
say
for this.
the only time I like think of scales is if we're playing like if I want to do like a diminished run, or I want to play.
That does change things.
Yeah, if I want to play in like Phrygian or something like this.
But that's not country music because it's not 3 chords in the truth anymore.
That's true. Yeah. Right. But if
it is sometimes.
Yeah,
there
is.
is diminished.
But if I'm playing any kind, you would play it probably in country music. But if I'm playing something where it does that whole like, it does something like that.
half stepping.
Yeah, then I'm thinking. You're playing that.
It's like Egyptian.
I like think of that scale because that's like that's a scale you could use, realistically.
It's like rootless.
Yeah, and like also if you're playing like a blues in and you play, you play your 1, you play your 4, you play your 1, you play your 5.
To break out of sounding like you're just playing a scale.
Yeah, and then when you come back down to that 4, then you could play a. You could play a diminished in there, and I'm playing like an A diminished over top of that.
But when you're playing jam bam or chicken picking stuff, you're probably playing a lot of mixolydian, but you're not even thinking about that.
Exactly. I'm not thinking about mixolydian at all.
What do you think about the flat 7?
Yeah,
do you?
I think that I think when I'm playing an A, I'm playing an A major scale, but I'm gonna squeeze a G in as much as I possibly can.
Yeah, because that gives it the blues sound.
You got to be able to visualize that G, that flat 7 note everywhere. Like, I know that's a G, I know that's a G, I know that's a G,
Right.
G, G. You just got to see that and just know those are where your G's are. And
so you're picturing 2 notes and then knowing where the flat 7's at.
yeah, I'm picturing my major scale, but I know I need to squeeze the G in every chance I can.
So really what I get from this is, I mean, sometimes I see a 4-finger chord, and I have not ran into a lot of people that say that. Usually it's the triad. You see all the videos.
Right.
I would say that either way, you're picturing a chord.
Yeah.
Of some sort, whether it be 2 notes, 3 notes, 4 notes.
Yeah, whatever the chord may be is, you're going to be outlining it.
And then you're thinking about the notes that you can tension and release, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, hey, the release is the chord tones, and anything in between there is the tension, and it's almost...
Yeah.
I bet if I've never thought about this till right now, but I bet if we evaluated our playing, we'd probably find almost 90% of the time we're hitting a chord tone every other note.
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe not. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but I think.
Yeah.
So you're hearing chord tones constantly.
Yeah. Yeah, constantly.
Do you swing the third, like the minor third to? I guess let's call it swing it. Like you do that a lot, don't you? That's
what do you
country.
mean?
Like you're sliding from the minor third to the major third.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
that's
of
a
course.
passing note. That's out of the Mixolydian scale. That's why I bring that up. So it's just like a passing note.
And I think that's the thing about it also with country chicken picking is that there's so many approach notes.
There's some
chromatic scales. Yeah, you're playing all the. You're a lot of chromatics going on.
I'm playing if there's gonna be, for those of you that want to analyze it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put some rules, and maybe I shouldn't do this. Mixolydian scale around some sort of chord shape.
Yeah.
So that's a major scale with a flat 7. Your 2 first passing notes. First one should be the minor third to major third.
Right.
Okay. And then the next one I'm gonna say is the sharp 4 as a passing note playing.
Yeah.
I would say that would, if you started playing around chords and then added those 2 passing things with that scale. Yeah. That's gonna give you the jam band chicken picking tone.
And I mean, you're talking about like when you go.
I mean, maybe
like
maybe you don't do this. So if I'm just passing, so here's a sharp 4.
Oh right.
See what I'm doing right there?
Yeah.
Like it. So definitely first that.
Right.
All right. And then that one I'm
right.
So and that one's not near as popular as
that one, yeah.
That one, like you basically Mixolydian with minor third and major third, and you're sounding like,
Yeah. Well,
okay.
That's the easiest one, yeah.
So let's talk about what are the components outside of just hitting every note, because it has there's a reason why it's called chicken picking.
Right.
So what do you think else with playing with those notes, if we're generalizing it, not getting out of the box, gives it, you need to do playing wise? Yeah,
I would say a lot of it comes down to your tone and then like the way you're playing it. For me, most people hybrid pick, which you could totally do, but I don't really do that so much.
But you're using more than one thing. You're not.
I'll play the pick when I need to do like a rock.
By not
run.
hybrid picking, he's still using his fingers.
Yeah, I still use the fingers.
He's not like flat
but
picking.
if I played like I played it with the pick, or I could go. That sounds more like a chicken picking some.
But it's really because you're
feed.
snapping the finger.
Snapping it.
So you gotta snap. You're pulling up with the middle or third finger or this first one. What are you using? You use that first one, don't you?
Yeah. I'm pulling up on the strings to get up. I want him to smack the fretboard.
Yeah.
Instead of going like. It just sounds different. And you can get muting going, kind of like playing pedal steel.
Yeah. So close up on his fingers on that, so
Yeah.
you can see what he's doing, and then I'll show you what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he can snap them. So I'm snapping them with these 2, and I'm hybrid picking.
Right.
And I see guys use thumb picks and do that too. So it's really.
And Brett Mason uses all picks on all fingers.
Yeah, that's crazy. And
Yeah.
some guys have like fake nails.
Yeah.
I don't.
couldn't do
So
the
I
nail
just
thing.
snap. So when I'm like climbing up, like
Right. There you
this
go.
finger's really adding the pop to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it doesn't sound like that if I was playing another genre or something like that. It's more smooth. You know,
Yeah.
like if I was doing blues, even when I'm doing this, I'm not popping it.
You can't. Yeah, because then it sounds like you're playing country
You
music.
can. I'm just saying it just starts sounding.
Yeah. If you want to stay true.
You know, like
blues.
yeah. I'm not going.
Yeah.
Well, I got it on the
You
wrong
could,
key, but
yeah.
it don't sound bad. I'm just saying
Yeah.
that's the difference in genres.
Yeah.
Okay, so you touched on it, and it's part of your playing, but like, talk about the double stops. Like that's the other
Right.
part that gives it the sound.
Yeah,
Right?
well, we kind of talked about it for the most part, but yeah, I mean, I'm visualizing 2 notes as opposed to 3.
So explain, in case people don't know, what a complete double stop is. Like we
Right.
just passed over it and said that, but
Okay.
it doesn't have to be right next to each other.
No,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be. Yeah, like most of the time, you've got. Hold on a second. You've got your root. You know, you've got whatever your root note is, and then you've got your.
And what we need to
Third.
talk about is how we're doing double stops. Like lots of times we're choking another note while doing them.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's really part of that.
Mhm.
We tune because we care.
Yes. We do tune because we care.
If we didn't care, we wouldn't tune.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so like another thing with chicken picking, like the sound of it, like just real quick, is the muting, all the muted notes. And you have all that like
Yeah, so talk about and this is very different from player to player. Like, are you making sure it's a note that is in scale or part of the chord when you're muting, or do you not care?
No, it doesn't even need to be in it because you're muting it. You know, like Amos Moses. You know, like half of those notes are muted.
Like, we live by the swamp, so we need to
Yeah.
go play that song in the swamp.
There comes Amos. Yeah.
That's video to come. Actually
Yeah.
playing Amos Moses in the swamp.
Yeah, we will do Amos Moses later.
Yeah.
Coming soon.
So choking a note, after you learn what notes to play around and picture
Yeah.
the chords or part of a chord, choking a note, adding double stops,
Right.
and then the last thing is the thing, man. It's the bends.
The bends, yeah, and I think that comes from pedal steel culture, honestly, and it's just
I don't even know when that first happened. It's just
It probably came from pedal steel
before
culture.
I discovered America. I know that. You know,
Right.
Yeah. So talk about 2 of your favorite bends, so they have an illustration. I mean, there's a whole bunch of
Well,
them.
I think the one everybody knows is when you're bending, and essentially when a bend, you're just taking a tone of, and then you're sliding one note, you know, and that's like the essential.
2 to 3.
That's the one, a 2 to 3, and you can also have a 2 on with a root. You know, and I mean, there's so many combinations you can make with it. But like the way I approach it is like when I want to come up with new bends, I'm just thinking, what's a cool chord shape or something? Like what's a shape that I want to see? And then I'm like, okay, well, that's the
What
target.
can I bend to?
What can I bend to? So I can go. You know, you could do that, or if I'm looking at it here, you know, and then or. Yeah, I'm just trying to see a chord, a double stop essentially.
Right.
And you have one note that's going to stay the same essentially. Or you bend both notes up at the same time. Like if I'm going to bend to get to that A here, I'll go. Or
Okay, that's one that I definitely don't do.
Yeah.
I need to start doing it.
yeah. And then there's like all kinds of creative things you can do. Like
That's the pedal still thing.
yeah, that's more of a pedal steel type of a like. Yeah.
Yeah, and your fingers they will get stronger when you first start that. You'll
Yeah.
look like you're like chasing something at
Yeah.
first, you know. Like,
And then there's the ones where they go, ah. That's the easier one.
okay, here so I'm
Yeah.
gonna mix the flat 7. That's what you're doing. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back down here to A.
Yeah.
I may regret this if I can't do it. And then grab
Yeah.
that G.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And then it gets you to D.
Yeah.
It's cold out here. My fingers aren't working.
Yeah.
Yeah. So add that flat 7 and the bends and the double stops. I mean, that was in the first 2 seconds of playing.
Yeah.
That could have been
Yeah.
an opening of, you know, all right, your turn.
Yeah.
Hopefully you play it better than that.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I mean, that's doing that around those chord shapes. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like we just like completely made professional chicken pickers out of everybody watching us. Done.
I hope so.
Hope
I hope
you
got-
enjoyed this free course.
I hope you got something out of this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Masterclass by Matt and Ben.
Or maybe we just know little about it and we just explained
I know a
everything
little
that
bit
we
about
do.
it, and we yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, cool. We
That's
just wanted
all.
to jump on here and give an overview. I guess this is an
Yeah.
overview of chicken jam, chicken picking.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
Play us out of here, Matt.
Play us out.
Play us out of here.
Okay, I'm gonna play us out with little Amos Moses.
That's right. If Danny Gatton played Amos Moses, boom. That is real chicken picking.
Yeah.